Switch to the dual wields. Okay. Back in the saddle. So, my thoughts on last Voyage of the Demeter. Overall, I liked it. I can't lie though. I can't help but feel that it was, like I said during my gut reaction, I felt like it was a bit of a missed opportunity with the whole campfire element. To me, sharing the folklore around a campfire, it would serve as, how can I put it, a means of the crewmates, whether familiars or, you know, new recruits, to enjoy some level of camaraderie, and it would say something about their personalities, you know, how they reacted to the story, the type of story that each mentioned, but specifically, it would serve the whole campfire folklore angle would serve three main plot beats. It would set the mood, I think. It would allow, and I think that's important because it would get the film off to the right tone. You know what I mean? Because until that element with the narration of stories, nothing horror related would really happen. And that's one thing that I did enjoy, I did like about the film, and I commended it with. It didn't just jump right into, oh my god, there's something scary aboard. No, like, it took its time. And I know it's a 2-hour movie, so it had the luxury of time on its hand. But yeah, in order to be able to set the right mood, I very much was all for the campfire element of it. Another aspect that it would help, this is number 2, given the impression, it would give the impression of a living nightmare come to life, you know what I mean? The fact that one of the stories would deal with you know, folklore, dealing with the undead returning from the grave and all that, it would give the impression by the sailors of just that. They are now in a living nightmare, like a story come to life, except that this is a horror tale. And I didn't even think of it until now, but it would, like, even though it's a film about, or a story about Dracula, it would allow for a nice homage to Mary Shelley, because as we all know, that Frankenstein was conceived of during a contest at Lord Byron's house in order to share like ghost stories. So I would think that would be like a cool kind of, how can I put it, homage. Number 3, it would perhaps help to split the crew between old world superstitious and new world scientific. What do I mean by that? You would, you know, those that are trying to find a logical explanation for why people are turning up dead versus those that are fully bought into the fact that you best start believing in ghost stories. You're in one.
You best start believing in ghost stories. You're in one. So,
I thought that telling ghost stories would have served multiple aspects that would serve the plot, and key of which was the mood. So that's one thing that I did like about the film that I mentioned earlier, that it took its time. You know, it didn't just jump right in, and I don't believe in a slow burn. I feel like if you got a slow burn, then you got some boring ass characters. So I like that the film was able to take much more of its time to develop and introduce these characters. So in addition to that, the movie did have decent characters. I do need to give it that. Nothing groundbreaking, unfortunately, but you know, they were still serviceable. Jesus, all right. So, unfortunately, my fears were well warranted. The story is a bit too straightforward. You know, it's not just it's not just the story itself is straightforward, but like the premise. Like there aren't really. There's one twist in the movie. There's one twist in the movie and one thing that I hadn't previously considered. But I'll be getting to that in a bit, and I won't spoil what one of the twists are. Despite being straightforward, I do have to commend the film because when I heard that it was 2 hours, I was like, boy, are they gonna be able to pull this off? Like, is this gonna be done convincingly, and is it gonna feel like it drags? Either drags or like they're intentionally trying to draw out the runtime, or just kill time. But I can commend it for taking its time with establishing its characters and showing, you know, what life at sea is like and whatnot, the trials and travails, as well as it not dragging, because believe me, I hate sometimes when I'm watching I've done like watch parties recently where I really hate when it feels like a film is rushed. So the fact that they take their time with the right things, introducing their characters and their, you know, day in the life with their voyages and what it's like to be at sea, and that the film didn't feel like it ever dragged. I would have preferred much more if the paranoia were played up, because obviously people are freaking out. They are in an isolated location. I mean, how much more besides space? How much more isolated can you get than out at sea? I wish they played up more of the paranoia. I very much would have liked to have seen that. What else? Yeah, like, I also mentioned this in my trailer gut reaction. I would have liked to have seen the oh crap. I would have liked to have seen the characters turn on each other before they start turning into bloodsuckers. I felt like it would have served as a nice twist, and it would have given Dracula a divide and conquer. You know, I always like when you present thinking monsters. It just better serves to enhance your movie villains, and obviously, Dracula isn't a zombie, you know, like a bumbling fool or just an animal. So now that I'm talking about it, it would have, like, on top of the cat and mouse angle of hunting his prey, I would have liked to have seen him split them up in terms of, like I said, those believing that what's going on is supernatural versus those that are more scientifically minded. And as far as twists are concerned, the movie does go there. one time with one of the scenes, and like I was saying to myself, man, like right before it happened and like the suggestion was there of what they were doing, I was like, if this movie's got any balls, they're gonna go there, and they did. And you'll see what I mean if and when you see the movie. So that was a much appreciated angle that they went with. Okay. Yeah, like I said, like the cast was okay. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more. But it was good for, you know, who they had, and I oh crap. I expected
this. She ain't gonna stop now.
I expected, how can I put this? A good performance out of the cast that was involved. Mainly the doctor, the captain, and I believe it was the first mate. You do get solid performances out of the crew. You know, definitely when the fear ensues and like people really don't know what's going on, you get genuine dread from them. Something I didn't think of that I have to commend the film for is like the madness of their situation, of their setting at sea, and just what's going on, the scenario. The fact that you know, people are, and this isn't spoiling anything, but it starts with the, what do you call it?
That tower.
It starts with the livestock being targeted, and then it escalates from there. But the idea that they are stuck on this boat and they're not sure what's going on, I had not previously thought of, you know, the whole, or just the idea of, for instance, sailors at sea that turn to seawater in their madness or in their desperation.
Like shipwrecked men turning to seawater from uncontrollable thirst. Many have died trying.
I'm not saying that happens. I'm talking just the madness angle of what's going on. Just totally freaking out and, you know, letting your fear, anxiety, and just the scenario get the worst of you. I had not previously considered that, and they show that once in the movie. I wish they would have shown that more often. Like, again, use every tool at your disposal. The paranoia, something I'm gonna get to a little in a bit, like nail-biting tension. The paranoia, nail-biting tension, you know, storms, lightning, all that classic stuff. You know, use everything at your disposal. Something the movie didn't think of, no claustrophobia? Really? Like, I couldn't find a direct quote or confirmation of Alien, the movie Alien, as an inspiration, but I kept hearing people talk about that. Reviewers, websites. So, like, bro, you're on an isolated environment. Boats are notoriously freaking claustrophobic, as is. So I kept hearing, again, websites, reviewers talk about Alien, the Ridley Scott's film. So, like, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, where's the claustrophobia? Like, I didn't get that sense at all, which is just odd to me. Living quarters, corridors, nothing. Very odd. Very odd that would have gotten left out. Like, damn. So, what else? Yeah, they did have, you know, despite the isolated location, they do, for the most part, get the most that they can out of it. So that was very much appreciated. You know, you do have storms, and you do have the rough terrain, so to speak, of, you know, stormy nights and the difficulties at sea. And I very much appreciated that from the film. Yeah, like, again, I don't know if it was the director that wanted this to be Alien, or Alien on a seafaring vessel. So if that's not the case, I'm guessing that might be media spin. Thank you, clickbait journalists. But yeah, the fact that like, even if Alien wasn't a direct inspiration, it's like, bruh, you have this location at your disposal and no claustrophobia. A little odd. And the obviously the location so perfectly lends itself to that. Just a bizarre omission. What else do we got? The movie could have used a little bit more suspense. Like, one thing that I cannot stand, it irks me when a film handles suspense really well, but then they blow their load with far too much in the way of what have you, of just like having a loud noise to spoil that. Like, look, suspense on its own can be a very good tool. Like, one of the things that I hated about this guy, oh god, I'm forgetting his name. The showrunner slash director of Haunting of Hill House, the one on Netflix. It's like, way too many times he would have such a good setup with his use of suspense, like just quiet. There's like a kineticness, you know, you have things going on. It's not like nothing is happening. You have a ghost approaching whoever or whatever, but it would always get spoiled, I felt, with like the loud noises. It's like, dude, suspense on its own works on its own. You don't have to have every single scene capped off with a loud noise. Like, you're ruining it. And I felt that a couple of times with the last Voyage of the Demeter. It's like, bruh, you're doing so well with the quiet, that, like, just the nail-biting quiet. You can just persist with that. You can set it up where it's just that, and there's nothing else. Mike Flanagan, that's his name. Mike Flanagan with The Haunting of Hill House. And I just feel like, the jump scares. It's like, bro, no, you're killing it. But there were moments where they got it, they hit the nail right on the head in Last Voyage of the Demeter. There is some woke nonsense in it, like the Black Doctor. In Romania during the turn of the century, the 19th century. And there is this peasant girl that, she can handle a rifle like a veteran poacher. I'm like, bruh, what? Like, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't make any type of sense. Like that, you're jumping the shark with a level of believability that you're clearly going for. And there's nothing about the movie that's like really outlandish. So when that part comes up where she could like handle a rifle, like, and mind you, and this isn't a spoiler, they set it up in the movie where she's like starved basically, and let's forget the fact that she's like this girl has to be 90 pounds soaking wet, and they're trying to like pawn it off where she could handle herself with a rifle. I'm like, all right. But anyway, besides fleeting moments like that were stupid and corny, one thing that I didn't like, and again, this isn't spoiling anything, but alright, if you want to go with Dracula isn't like this suave character, and he's more bestial, like he is in the book, fine. You can do that. Here's the thing though. We, especially after, because remember, Nosferatu is the first unofficial adaptation. Nosferatu it really is, by this point in time, its own thing. It is the more bestial form of Dracula, but it is its own thing by now. If you want to tell a Dracula story, tell a Dracula story. If you want to tell a Nosferatu story, that's kind of different, you know? By this time, I would say that it has earned the Nosferatu villain has earned that prestige and that status. So the fact that they're trying to tell a Dracula story using Nosferatu, I don't know. That didn't quite jive with me. Either tell one or the other. Don't mix them. And not for nothing, but it should say something about your story when your villain, your Dracula, is the weakest part of the movie. I didn't like that, I didn't like the use of CGI. I almost never do with these types of movies. Like, I hate when they try to use CGI to enhance any aspect of your movie monster. This was very prevalent 6 years ago, like the Mummy, the Mummy remake. They would try to like enhance the look of the female mummy with CGI, and it looked unnecessary. It looked like crap. They would do the same thing with Pennywise, with his eyes and a lot with his face. Who else? There's somebody else that they would try that with, and it just looked awful. Awful and unnecessary. So they really just should have gone for a practical effects. Like, there really was no need whatsoever to go down the CGI route. It's just like, bruh. There's no need for it, and you can save on budget if you don't unnecessarily go down that route. What else? Oh, God. Unfortunately, the last Voyage of the Demeter, I hate to report that it utterly got smoked at the box office. It opened at the number 5 spot. It only earned $6.5 million in its first weekend. This was budgeted at $45 million. Now, if I was a cynical man, I would say that it appears that Dracula's down for the count. No apologies. And you know what? I think I heard a request from the audience. It's the remix. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to you guys again. Thank you for 420 subscribers. It's been a long time coming.
If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends.